Boom! Today we have Yeski instead of Nogi, and today we have a newcomer, Phillip. He's a purple belt, and he's going against Joe, a white belt. Let's see how they do. Some backstory quick on Phillip since he is new to the channel. He is a purple belt, and he's been training since he was a young child. He's also training to go to Worlds. He's expecting to do the tournament pretty soon here, so he's been training a lot. He is mostly a gi competitor, which is new for the channel, but he really just loves any sorts of competition. He would travel all over the country to do a tournament. Now, they're starting in the standing position, and they're both working on grabbing some grips here. Phillip's doing a nice job of keeping some space, while Joe pretends he's never held a gi before. Phillip is immediately going over Joe's arm because he wants to get a nice collar grip, and he's working on an outside trip. Joe steps back smartly, and then Phillip is moving him and creating some more motion to go for another trip. This one doesn't work either, but then he goes for an inside trip, and he does fall first, but thankfully he has the gi, so he can quick work up to his hips, and then he can finish the takedown. That same trip would have been perilous in no gi because of the control he had when he fell, but thankfully with the gi you can get away with some more techniques if you're able to maintain the position. Now Phillip is working towards the knee mount, but Joe pushes him into half guard. From here, Phillip is looking to flatten Joe out before he can start to pass. Phillip transitions to another collar grip on Joe, and this grip works wonderfully because you can stretch your arm out to push their face away. It's also really hard to get off because the hand is behind the neck. Anytime a grip is behind the neck, it's going to be hard for them to hand fight and strip the grip. Joe is able to grab Phillip's right wrist and control him a tiny bit, but that doesn't bother Phillip at all. Instead, he puts his head towards the mat and he's going towards Joe's arm. He wants to keep Joe flat while he attacks Joe's left knee. He pushes the knee out and then he moves into the side control position. The entire time he did that, he kept Joe flat. That is imperative if you want to pass the guard the way that he did. He made sure to use that collar grip he had to extend the neck and then shove him forward. Since this is gi, you're going to see a different type of roll. With the gi, it's more about control, and I'm not going to say there's no control in no gi. It's just much faster, you have sweat, you have a lot more motion, people aren't hanging on to you. So in Phillip's rolling, we're going to see a lot more control on top. Also, when you want to compete at the high level like he does, you need to be able to hold an opponent down. Once you score your points, sometimes you're going to lose just by 2 points in competition. So it's important to be able to maintain control with the gi on, especially if you ever want to compete. Phillip is now pushing Joe to an extended knee mount. That means he's pressing hard into Joe, forcing Joe to move. Phillip wants Joe to move and to open up so that he can look to counter. He's now switched to the reverse knee mount, and as Joe is turning into him, Phillip's going to take the back. He's first going towards this knee pillow position, but Joe's doing a nice job of turning into the turtle. As soon as they get to the turtle, this is where wrestling class would really come in handy, really for either of them, but Phillip is starting to attack the wrist. He's attacking the wrist so that he can open Joe up again. Joe is falling down and he's keeping his posture low. Posture low is good if you want to avoid chokes, but with the gi, you have to worry about them grabbing your collars. Phillip does just this. He grabs the back of the collar and he's pulling Joe over. The back of the collar is an extremely powerful grip because you can maintain so much control over your opponent. So Phillip's not going to want to let this go. Joe is moving around, but the whole time he's moving, he maintains this grip, and now he has an underhook on the other arm. He switches off of the deep collar grip as Joe is turning into him, and he's looking to get his leg over Joe's arm, but he also set up a beltline hook. Once he has this beltline hook, he's hand fighting. Phillip's favorite technique is the bow and arrow. However, the bow and arrow is not available if you can't clear the space to be able to grab his lapel. Joe does a mistake here. Phillip has the beltline hook and he's attempting to turn into Phillip. As he does this, Phillip pushes him back down with the beltline hook. That's okay. However, Joe forgets about his leg. This is Phillip's opportunity to go down towards the leg, grab the knee pant material, and then he's going towards the bow and arrow to get the tap. So that was a nice submission for Joe Dirt here, but as they start standing, I want to get into my question of the day. In the spirit of Yeski, what is your favorite gi only technique? Do you like the bow and arrow, the Ezekiel choke, etc.? I like the loop choke. It is an inferior version of the guillotine, but it still resembles a guillotine, so of course I'm going to choose the loop choke. I also do like the bow and arrow as well when I use the gi and when I take the back. I just really prefer to do no gi only. They're both standing here, and again they're looking for control. Phillip's getting a little tired because of this head fighting that you can see as if they were both wrestlers, and then he's pushing in. As Phillip pushes in, he's looking to sweep Joe over. Joe does not push forward enough, so he's not able to complete the sweep, but as they start standing, Joe is pressing forward, so Phillip hits it again. If it doesn't work the first time, just do it again. and then go to knee mount. The sweep that Phillip just hit Joe with was a very nice takedown. It just requires forward motion. It gets a little annoying when you're pushing, your partner won't engage, but he was able to force Joe to engage because as they were both coming up, Joe of course wanted to try and get on top of him. As Joe looked to get on top, he hit that sweep very easily, worked right into the side control, and now he's working that same control that he had earlier. He has the back of the collar so he can stretch Joe out and keep him flat. Joe is acting like he is a no-gi only student, which is not true. He always goes to gi classes, but he's not doing the right gi techniques to strip grips or to free himself from this position. Of course, rank matters quite a bit here, but still, I'd like to see some more action from Joe on bottom. Joe is attempting to turn in a little bit, but this allows Phillip to get to the knee mount. So what I just said about him moving apparently didn't work out too well because Phillip goes to knee mount and he's again looking to stretch Joe out. Phillip's looking to use his left hand to go towards the other collar, potentially looking for a choke, but Joe strips this. As Joe strips this, Phillip is again working around him, but he returns to his favorite knee mount position and he's starting to look to attack. I understand Phillip's position, you want to get things going, but the person opponent is not opening up enough, so you do random things until they do move. Phillip now is looking to move his left leg. What he wants to do is to flick it off and go towards the armbar. He's covering the arms, he brings the legs over the head, he transitions to the arm, he even turns his stomach in a different direction towards the head. By turning towards the head, he gets the tap, but he's also preventing Joe from rolling. It's a nice finish to the armbar, and then he gets the tap and they start standing again. So that's 2 submissions for Joe Dirt, and now they're looking to engage in the grip battle once again. Phillip is not having this grip fighting from Joe, instead he's keeping some more distance. Joe is staying as the aggressor, however, so I do like that. Unfortunately, this does bring us towards the end of the round. Phillip is stripping some grips here, and then he's attempting another takedown by constantly snapping Joe, but he isn't able to do it before the round ends. If you appreciate the role, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, thank you to all my current patrons.